So today we're going to review what the greatest common factor is of a couple of different numbers. So the greatest common factor is the biggest number that is a factor of two numbers. What I did here was I went ahead and I prime factorized 32 and I prime factorized 20. I've already talked about how to do that, just breaking it down into prime numbers. So 32 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. That's what that says right there. And 20 is 2 times 2 times 5. Now if you look at the list down here, we've got some shared factors. One shared factor is a pair of 2's. Another shared factor is another pair of 2's. And now we don't have any more shared factors. We have 3 2's on top and 1 5 on the bottom. So if I want to figure out what the greatest common factor is of these two numbers, I just multiply these two 2's together. There are factors for both. So what I end up with as an answer is 4. That's the greatest common factor of both of these numbers, because 4 times 8 equals 32, and 4 times 5 equals 20. So here's another example. I broke it down again for 170. What's the biggest number that divides into both? Again, it might come to you immediately, it's going to be 10, because that's a pretty big number and divides into both. But if it doesn't, then what you can do is you can prime factorize them. So if you look here, 100 is going to be 2 times 2 times 5 times 5. 70 is going to be 2 times 5 times 7. So again, what factors do they share? They share a 2 and they share a 5. So to figure out what the biggest factor that both of them share, we're just going to multiply 2 times 5, which is going to give you 10. And that makes sense because 10 times 10 is 100, and 10 times 7 equals 70. So one more here. What we have here is we have 18 and 24, and we're trying to figure out the greatest common factor of both of those numbers. So if you look here, again, 18 is going to be 2 times 3 times 3. 24 is going to be 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. Now if I break this down, I'm going to go ahead and go, okay, well I got a pair here of 2's and I've got a pair of 3's here. So that's going to be 2 times 3. And that means that 6 is the greatest common factor of both 18 and 24. That makes sense because 6 times 3 is 18 and 6 times 4 is 24.